Hello and welcome to the Treasured Page podcast. I'm Melanie and this is our quiet crafting space. Today I'm coming to you from my craft room on the south coast of England, and we're going to have a look at the topic of creative journaling. And what is that? This is episode 2 of the Junk Journaling podcast for the Treasured Page. So we're going to kick off and just have a little think about what that means. Creative journaling. You've all heard of journaling. You've heard of diary keeping. It conjures up maybe images of writing reams of notes in a book and discussing with yourself your day, your week, your month, maybe putting down your thoughts, your feelings, but also planning ahead and putting down your goals and aspirations, somewhere where you want to be in the next year ahead and even the week ahead, and what do you want to achieve. All of those things are brilliant. All of those things are part of journaling, and all of those things can be absolutely achieved within a junk journal. However, creative journaling, it is slightly different. It isn't necessarily writing down all of your thoughts and feelings, because it could just be the simple case of wanting to express yourself in a different way that isn't in a written form. Not all of us like writing. Not all of us can articulate ourselves. Not all of us want to have the pressure of writing in a book on a daily basis. But you may feel that you could come and sit down, you could open a page in a book, and you might be more inspired to just glue down something from your day. And it could be that today you picked up something from a shop, it was a business card, it meant something to you, you don't want to forget it, and therefore you could just stick it down in the book, or you could paper clip it to a page so you don't forget it. Right, fine. That's something that maybe is a practical reason, but perhaps on that card, that business card or that loyalty card, something that you picked up which was made of paper, it had an image on it, and that image has inspired you. It's inspired you enough to want to keep it. So you know where that shop was, you know where that coffee place was. You'll go there again because you enjoyed it. But are you hanging on to the card because you had such a lovely coffee from that shop, or an experience? Or did you meet somebody there that really made that day special? And in keeping that card, is that a little memory anchor for you of a nice experience, either a lovely coffee and a nice piece of cake, or was it that you had a meaningful exchange with a friend or a family member or a colleague? And whatever that piece of paper means to you and why you've decided to keep it, that's part of creative journaling. That is what I call a memory anchor. We're putting it down on a piece of paper in a book and keeping it safe so that we don't forget. We don't forget that time in history, in our history, was worthwhile. It was worth our time. We had a wonderful time. We had a wonderful coffee. The cake was amazing. We'd love to go again, and we definitely don't want to forget it. Not only that, we had a real giggle with a friend, and the whole thing was a wonderful experience. Therefore, I want to keep the card. I want to journal the card. And not only that, there's a nice image on it, and that image of this coffee shop has inspired me to want to maybe just draw something or paint something or find a matching colour out of another piece of paper and glue that down next to this card that I'm keeping. And before you know where you are, you have journaled a page, you've expressed that time in which you felt happy, and you've got something to show for it. You could make that into something more embellished, and you could keep that in your diary for future times when people will come and have a look. And you will be able to remember it and explain, oh yes, that's the time where I had a little chat with my friend and she told me that she was getting married, or she told me that she'd like to go on holiday with me. Those wonderful times in which we want to just remember. So that could be one basic way of starting off in a creative journal, something that is for you. The other side of it is that we like to make things for people. That gives us a purpose, that we feel like we've got something to do, that we're doing it for somebody else, that kindness, that random act of kindness where we want to give, we want to be generous and give to other people, but really we also want an excuse to do something nice and creative in a way in which gives us permission. But what if we didn't have permission? What if we didn't need permission? What if we could just be creative in a book and that be okay? How about that? So how about changing the way we view journaling and just think that it's okay to open the book and start putting down something that makes us happy? It's okay to sew on a button to a piece of paper. It doesn't matter if the book becomes chunky because it's yours. It's going to be something you keep, and it's going to be something you open and feel happiness because those are your things. Those are things that you found that make your heart sing. So I'm sitting here at my desk surrounded by lots of bits of paper, things that I would consider as memory anchors, but I've got so many of them I wouldn't actually know where to begin. So what I do is I would take my papers and I would start folding them up, and then I would sew them into a book cover. So that could be a traditional book cover that has already had its pages taken out, so it's a hardback book. It could be one made out of fabric, and those are the starts of the journals that I like to have. I like to have one on hand for just me personally, and I like to show what I'm doing on my YouTube video, which is the treasured page. Recently, I've been looking at journals in a different way. I've been looking at a study of historical time and focusing in on people that have had value or worth in our history, and I have enjoyed reading about them and journaling about them. So it could be that you have something that interests you, and many people like to do a whole journal on one small topic. It could be that you have recently discovered the art of bread baking in an artisan way, and you're now learning this new skill, and that has led you on to finding out more things about maybe Italian bread baking, and therefore you're thinking about Italy and you're thinking about different flours and how they grow and what the difference is between organic flours and all the different yeasts and things, techniques that you could use to bake bread. And now we all want a piece of toast. So we're just having a little chat here. If you want to settle in, whether you're out on a walk taking the craft room with you or whether you're just listening with a nice hot drink, I hope that you pause for a moment and take a break from your day and just take a deep breath and think, yeah, it's okay to journal in any way I want. If I want to put fabric in a book, that's fine. If I want to put paint in a book, that's fine. Let's think of all the things that we want to put in a book, because guess what? That's fine too. And the more you find that inspires you and makes you feel happy, the more you're perhaps, hopefully, clearing up some of the clutter that you have been hanging onto but not knowing what to do with it. Like the time you went to the theatre or the time you went to the cinema. That time that you went somewhere and you hang on to the ticket or the brochure or the flyer. The time that you visited something really fun and you've kept hold of the information pack with a lovely photo of you and maybe your family, and those are the things that have just got shoved in a pile and they have not had anything done with them. Well, we don't want this to be a pressure. You don't have to feel you have to put everything in the book every time you've done something. It may be that not all of those things make you feel happy. It could have been, we had this massive plan to go somewhere, but the whole day was derailed by something out of our control, and therefore it wasn't the best memory. You can decide whether you journal about it or not, but you don't have to feel pressured. You only put down in that book things that bring you joy and make you happy. And the other side of creative journaling is obviously to give to others, and it is great fun to be able to make a journal as well for the purpose of gifting. So these are things that you can discover and enjoy. But what inspiration can we find? And how do we get that inspiration in the first place? So I think there are two ways. You're inspired because you have been somewhere, you've seen somebody and they've sparked off a conversation, or you've seen something, a favourite TV show, or you've read something that is something worth learning about and you want to discuss it more or emphasise it more or create something to do with that. That's one inspiration. Another reason for journaling is motivation. What has motivated you to want to come in, sit down and write about something or create something for your journal? It could be a positive experience. It could be you went somewhere and it was utterly amazing and you don't want to forget those moments. You've got photos that you'd like to put in your journal and never forget that time. And you also want to share it with others, maybe in a coffee book situation where other people can come in as a talking point. They can flip through your journal like a wonderful scrapbook and they can see all of the things that you did this year. And particularly at this time of year where we like to reflect on the year we've had, it's a nice time to catch up with all of those connections we've had with others and how we might like to put those down on a treasured page. But emotion can also, there's always the flip side, isn't there? There's always something else that motivates us to want to come and be quiet in our crafting space. And that could be things that have impacted on us in maybe a less favourable or negative way. And it's those times that this is just as important. So not just to document the great things, but also to express the negative. And I think from my side of it, this is my opinion, my take on it, is that I'm of an age now where I'm very mindful that if I put anything down in written word, it's going to be read in the future because I shall keep things. And those things that I write down will be read by my children. And do I want them reading about anxieties and things that are going on that I will obviously overcome, but in the moment I'm angry or I'm cross or I'm worried or I'm concerned or I'm a bit scared of what's going on in the world. So I want to express that, but I'm not sure I want to write that down and then that be something that's found in the future, because it will be a process. It will be me moving through. So, this thing's happened and it's really scary. I want to get that emotion out. For me, it makes me feel better when I have got that emotion out. And in many people's cases, writing something down and getting it out feels 100 times better. And we don't have to go and talk to anybody about it. We've managed it ourselves. We've written it down. We feel 100 times lighter. But what if we could do it in a way that's positive, that doesn't offend anybody or worry anybody in the future? What if it's hidden journaling, secret journaling, private journaling? Or what if it's creative journaling, where it's absolutely encouraged and completely 100% fine to splatter black paint everywhere because that was the mood of the day? And it to be okay. It's fine to put an image down that expresses the worry or the trauma or the anxiety or the whatever it might have been that has led you to feel a little bit down. It's okay to feel down. We're human. We cannot be bouncy, bubbly, on top of things all of the time. So if you're having a bad day, you can journal about it in a positive way, in a constructive way, and be able to just have a dark, grungy journal if you want, and that's the journal where you go to when you are feeling a little bit more moody. You could have an angry journal. I think that's a really good idea. We might do that one on the YouTube channel, having an angry journal, because there are days where we just have these frustrations, and it would be far better to take the anger or take that out on a page than take it out on someone we love. So I think that is another motivation for journaling is emotion. We are emotional beings. We are driven by emotion all of the time. And in our quiet crafting spaces, in our journaling time, we are going to experience that. We are going to want to let that out, and that's exactly what we should be doing. So we could be having a wonderful time just expressing that and putting it down, quietly getting on with a simple, slow task and working through the problem, working through to a solution, actually slowing our minds down enough to think through, why am I cross about that? Am I being rational here? Has somebody said something to me and I've taken it the wrong way? What was going on for them in that moment? And you can really think it through just while you're painting or while you're sewing or while you're gluing and collaging. You can just calm down. And I think that is part of creative journaling, and it's another part of junk journaling as well, because it allows us to have a go. We're just using paper and scraps. There's nothing special if it doesn't need to be. We can get waste papers and we can just splatter paint around or ink about or fold things up in a way in which feels pleasing at the time, and it doesn't matter because it's just paper that we were otherwise going to throw away. So you can be as creative as you need to be. You do not have to have any technical skills whatsoever, but you can have a go to get some of these emotions out, and then you can move forward into the joy, because you will have looked down, realised you've solved a problem for yourself, and you've come out with something amazing at the end of it. Something you're proud of, something that you're happy with. Look down and you think, oh, well, I've just folded this paper into an interesting way. I've put a beautiful picture on it, even though I was really cross 10 minutes ago because of a phone bill that came through. And now I couldn't care less about the phone bill. That's okay. I know I can pay it, and I've worked out a way in which I can do that because I've forgotten. I've got savings and da-da-da-da-da. Give yourself the time to process the thoughts, and then you can tackle your day in a positive way. And that is the benefit of creative journaling, because you do not have to write it down. That's what I think is amazing. I like it, but I am a creative person. But, I'm creative when it comes to writing as well. I just don't want to write the negative stuff down. I don't want anybody finding that. My opinions are my opinions, and I don't want to cause upset in the future. So I think having a journal where you can just be yourself may be interesting when it comes to putting down images that express the feelings of the day, of that moment. And that should be okay. We should be okay with that, guys. So I think that's the inspiration and the motivation to create in a journal come from many places, and there are going to be times where we've got those emotions and we just need to get them out, and we just need to work through them, and working in a creative journal is perfect for that. So have a little think about that this week as you're going through, and if you've got anything that's winding you up, just get some paper and have a little go for yourself. Not for the purpose of giving it to anybody else, not for the purpose of making something because you've been asked to make something, or you feel you should be, or because it's a holiday coming up, or a birthday, or somebody wants something. For you, just for you. Just for you, okay? So what can we journal about to get some of these thoughts out and process the things that are underlying and threatening to make us feel cross or uptight. We don't want to be uptight because then we can't radiate that support for the others in our lives. And if you're listening to this and you're a woman and you have a family, you know how you need to show up for everybody. And that's a tough gig. That's a tough role. Okay, so we need to look after ourselves. We need to look after number one here. We need to, we need to be the bold, sensible girls that we need to be. And in that, we need to get ourselves right. We need to go through the door by ourselves. We need to shut it. We need to calm down. We need to journal it out in whichever way feels right. Slow down, calm down, get our head straight, and then go back, all bright and shiny and able to take on everybody else's deal and problems. And but yeah, make time for you. Make that space, make that creative space. So we had lots of people write in and say, I hadn't thought about making a space for me. I have so needed a creative space for me. I hadn't even realised it. And that was the same for me. I just realised one day I needed a quiet crafting space. I needed my time for me away from others so that I could emerge feeling refreshed, feeling raring to go, ready to take on the day, on the world. And yes, I needed a crafting space. So I have commandeered an entire room, and I've waited my whole life to have a craft room, so I finally got it. But it doesn't need to be a room. It just needs to be maybe a little corner, maybe under the stairs, or there's a little nook, or there even a tray on your lap, somewhere where you can sit quietly away from the others just for 20 minutes or so and put things together just to calm down and relax. It's all about relaxation. We need that. We have stressful lives whether we know it or not. Even if you live by yourself and you are just there's no one else really to wind me up. Yeah, there is. There really is. It's a big wide world out there. You've only got to switch on the news or listen to something and then before you know it, there's something, little thing that has just threatened to derail you. And if that happens, then turn it off and retreat and come back and come and sit and have a look at your papers and your glue and your scissors and just see if you could make something fun and maybe add things like fabric or trim or paint or whatever creative things that you've always wanted to try. Now's the time to get those out and have a go. So just have a go, guys, and see if you can create and work your way through some of these little moments that can threaten to derail your mood. We don't want that. We don't need it. We don't have to have it. We've got the tools. The tools are create a quiet space for yourself. Kick everybody out for 10 minutes and go and enjoy something and make something you're proud of, something that will be a memory anchor in your journal, and you can feel the joy of creating something and have had a wonderful time doing it. Not only that, you've got rid of anything that was bothering you. You've managed to slow down enough to think, actually, this has happened before and I can deal with this. It's going to be okay. So there's the message today, guys. It is going to be okay. We've got the week to get through and I will be back in a few days and we'll see how we're all doing with our week ahead. There's lots to be pleased about. There's lots to journal about, and there'll be times where things come at us. But, we've got this. We're strong and we can handle it all. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you'll tune in to the next podcast coming up. I'm going to aim to have 2 a week. They will be on Mondays and Thursdays. So one at the beginning of the week and one to get us through towards the end of the week and into the weekend. And then you'll be able to have a look at the videos as well on my Treasured Page YouTube channel. So there we are. I hope that that's been of interest to you, a little moment to go and create your own space, whether it's on the landing at the top of the stairs, whether you've got a room, whether you've got a tray that you can sit in bed with, or whether you have a garden shed you could go and commandeer, or an old caravan, or all sorts of things I've heard people write in and say about. But yeah, make time for you, make time for you, make time for you. Okay, everybody, I've had fun today, so thank you so much for listening, and above everything else, just slow down and make crafting time for you. Bye-bye now.